step up and hand Drew Deaner a great victory.
Just one more from me. I saw Ben sat ringside tonight. Any interesting conversations taking place?
A lot of interesting conversations, but you know, as I understand it, he's under contract, and we wouldn't interfere with that situation. If he ever become available, honestly, I think we could do some sensational things with Ben Whittaker. But until that time comes, it's a non-conversation.
I know you spoke at length about the Richardson Hitchin situation and Keith Conley. I saw interesting tweets from Gervonta Davis, pleading a sort of loyalty for Al Haymon, his love for Al Haymon, and a lot of fighters over the years have had this sort of long-term commitment to Al, and you see him as like a mentor. The relationships are always very strong. But you don't always see that in boxing. Why do you think these PBC fighters have always had this sort of commitment to Al, and what do you think the reasons are?
Because I think some people are very good at that. You know, I think some people are very good at making you feel like this is the guy that's really, you know, my guy, and maybe is their guy. I think Al makes a lot of investment in fighters early on, whether that be through funding, whether that be through property or wherever it's going to be, you know. And he's obviously got that trust for him. I mean, you see that with, I don't know, AJ or, you know, those guys, Katie Taylor, you know, those elite people that really lean on, you know, me in that situation as well. Some don't quite get on or don't feel like you're the guy, but you know, there's a lot of slippery people in this sport. I'm not referring to Al Haymon, but who make you feel like, you know, I'm your guy. You know, Al's very different. Al's actually not the guy that he's worried about his credentials, and not the guy that's worried about getting in the photo or making sure he gets in the ring, because he don't even go to the shows. But he does work hard behind the scene, and I'm sure he cares for the fighters as well. So there are certain fighters that have extreme loyalty towards him, and rightfully so.
Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora 3, does that do anything for you?
Not really, no. I don't think that'll happen either.
Dave Allen, Joseph Parker, does that do anything more for you?
Maybe. I mean, I think look, it's going to be a tough decision for Dave, because he's kind of put himself in line for all these big fights where we've had probably 3 top 10 heavyweights discuss a fight with Dave Allen in the last 72 hours. And it was our plan to probably put him in with TKB to fight for the British heavyweight title. And that's actually a route I like, because I'd love to see Dave Allen win the British heavyweight title in Sheffield. Do you know what I mean? But a fight with one of those guys and making that kind of money, you can't ignore.
A couple of quick updates. Anthony Joshua, where are we at?
No, honestly, nowhere. Like, I mean, training camp, not ready to start, but close. You know, we had a conversation the other day, and I said to him, you need to let me know when you'd be ready by, and that was end of October. But happy to fight in November or December. So we're only going to fight once this year. Nothing really, you know. Next question. Who's it going to be? I have absolutely no idea. Dave Allen. No, it's not going to be Dave.
Last one. Eubank Ben rematch, the weight rehydration. Has that proved the sticking point in negotiations?
No, there's no negotiation. The contracts are signed for the fight. So I don't think there is any negotiations. All we're waiting on now is just a date from His Excellency. And obviously the football fixture's out now. There's been a lot of conversations between us back and forward, September 20th, October 4th, etc. Could be later. But he'll make a decision on that, His Excellency, probably next week. Yeah, I mean, that's the funniest. I mean, imagine Maurizio Sullivan or the WBC accusing me of double standards. I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, I actually wrote to Maurizio this morning because he didn't like my comments about Bivol and Beterbiev, and I actually got a little bit of those comments factually wrong. But I still felt like he was calling out a fighter, goading him, and giving the public information about an offer that had been made. And I don't believe that's the job of the president of the governing body. So he wrote to me asking to retract those statements, and I refused. And then I made my comments about Manny Pacquiao, and he made his comments today. And I wrote to him, I said, you got cheek, you said all this about me. You called me embarrassing, a loudmouth, that was quite fair, the second one, and double standards. And I said, how ironic is that, you accusing me of double standards? The reality is, the reason Manny Pacquiao has been put in the rankings is because, forget that he's a legend and all that kind of stuff, because he thinks he's a big fight, which generate a lot of money and sanction fees. That's the reality, and sometimes you'd be better off just being honest about it. If it was a legend that didn't generate any money, and there was, you know, he didn't want to, like, you just wouldn't put him in the rankings. So that's why you're supporting it. There isn't anyone that thinks that Manny Pacquiao should be automatically inserted at number, 5 or whatever he was, in the WBC. It's ridiculous. So, but I'm going to say it, because I'm not going to pussyfoot around and just say, oh yeah, it's fine. Because in my opinion, it's not fine. So me and Maurizio are going to get on sometimes. We're going to get on. We're not going to get on other times. He probably don't care. I don't care either.
The issue with Manny Pacquiao about the fact that he's been in the rankings, because he said there was talks about Conah Ben.
Yeah, but that was a time, man, where it was well over a year ago. We got approached about Manny Pacquiao. I said, yeah, maybe it's a fight we can consider. Conah Ben, his best win at that point was Chris Algieri, right? It was not for a world title. It wasn't to do with anything in the governing body. We just got approached about that fight. And we got absolutely ridiculed. People were saying to me, you're a disgrace. How can you think about putting Conah Ben in with Manny Pacquiao? Now, fast forward 18 months or whatever it is, he's now been inserted in the world rankings. And worse than that, he's fighting for a world title.
Eddie, can I just get your comments then on the Normans and basically...
Norman who?
Brian Norman.
Oh, Brian Norman,
yes. And basically alluded to the fact that Boots has moved up to 154 to avoid it.
I mean, like, look, this is the reality. About straight after the Stanionis fight, we contacted Top Rank and we said, we want to do a deal for Boots to fight Brian Norman. They said, great, let's get on it, right? We love Top Rank. They want to make big fights. They contacted the Normans and they said, oh, we're fighting in Japan. We're going to get this fight out of the way and we'll talk about it after that. Like, no, we need to know now, because if not, we're going to move up to 54. Oh, we're not willing to talk about a fight. We offered them $1.75 million to fight Boots about 6 months ago. They said we want $2 million. And after the Stanionis fight, we said we'll give you a $2 million. And they still didn't want to take it. So of course, now we're moving up. How convenient that all of a sudden, I can't believe they've moved up. We were dying for that fight. We're dying for it. But he can go back and we'll see what's next.
Callum Smith. To fight Benavidez back into this year. Obviously yourself, obviously working with other promoters. What's the likelihood we could see Callum and Benavidez? It's a huge fight.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. I mean, look, Callum wants to become a two-division world champion, but ultimately to do so, you've got to beat Benavidez or Bivol. It's not easy, but he's interim world champion. He's going to be in line for a shot at Dimitri Bivol, and there is a chance that he could fight David Benavidez around October time. We're still negotiating with the PBC, so we'll see. If he doesn't do that, he'll defend his interim world title in Liverpool or in the Northwest around the same time.
Eddie, unbelievable.
I just want to ask about the heavyweight division in the US. It seems like it's an open market right now. Deontay Wilder's returning, but do you look at fighters potential like the Jermaine Franklin that can help spearhead that?
I don't know. I think the heavyweight division seems to be dead in America. It's a shame, because if America can get some quality heavyweights, I think it can really help the game.
How began for Dave Allen and so
there's a couple of conversations for Dave Allen to fight a couple of guys in the top 10. Like, I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's going to be a difficult decision. I mean, it could be a fight that gives Dave Allen 6 or 7 on sweets, and he only wanted 1.
What are the chances of seeing Dave Allen?
That particular fight, I don't know.
Last couple.
Eddie, is there an edge?
On the towel situation tonight, a lot of people talking about it. Do you think it should have
The
been
what?
the towel situation?
Difficult, Rob McCracken knows his fighter better than anybody. I did feel like, particularly in from the end of the 10th, 11th, 12th, and Rob had the towel in the 12th, and it was almost going, but then Galal would tie him up. And like I said, Rob McCracken knows Galal Yafai better than anyone, and I trust his decision on it.
Eddie, unbelievable performance on Conor Walker tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, who next for him?
I don't know. I mean, part of me would love to see him win a Lonsdale belt outright, but, obviously the aim for Conor Walker is to make him as much money as possible to leave the sport, beyond his wildest expectations. So he gives us value for money every time, and I thought it was a great performance.
Echo Esserman?
Yeah, we're talking to Queensbury about that fight.
And then Tiah-Mai, I mean, that's how you make a professional debut.
I mean, I was a bit worried, and I said to Matty on Friday, no more media for her, because she's been doing so much media. She's 18. And it's like, if she's not quite ready or she's not quite mature enough, she might just freeze a little bit in there tonight. And I went backstage before the fight, and she was just like calm, cool as a cucumber. And she's very, very special. You don't see girls dropping people like that at bantamweight, like very few people. The punches are really sharp and crisp, and she's 18. She's a special fighter.
And is there any truth that Brian Norman had Butch down at sparring?
About as much truth in that as me entering the Olympics in gymnastics.
Eddie, Peter McGuire with him tonight with the victory.
Yeah.
Will you be looking to reschedule the Shabazz Massoud fight?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, Shabazz said he's started shadow boxing and he thinks he'll be back sort of September, October. I don't want to hold Peter up. You know, I mean, he's been very unlucky. The Dennis McCann fight fell through late. The Shabazz fight fell through late. And he's had those replacement opponents. He's done everything that's been asked of him. So I want to see him move on, but I would like to make that fight.
Eddie, can I get your quick thoughts on the Canelo Crawford fight? How do you expect that to
I go back and forwards, to be honest with you. Like, when I talk to Bud, I kind of like, he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability and he's very convinced. And then you see the presser yesterday and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously he's a big lump. So I was always Canelo, then I sort of leant towards Bud, but now I'm back with Canelo, so we'll see.
The added incentive of the bonus for a knockout, do you think that could lead to a potential finish?
No, I don't think it means anything to him. We don't even know what it is.
Last one.
Last one?
Eddie.
What? I actually don't mind the fight. And actually Chavez has trained very hard and mentally he's in a good place, but obviously he's very long in the tooth. But I think it'll be a competitive fight. And I think I'm going to go for the Jake Paul late stoppage. Can't believe you got me right.